welcome everybody. Got a really exciting tie-up today, an integration with two of the biggest prop tech businesses we've got out there. We have James here from Alto. How are you, James? You okay?
Yeah, I'm very well, Simon. Very well, thank you.
Looking good, like in the background there. It's all sort of alluding to a kind of Japanese calm theme, which is what people associate with prop tech. You don't have to look around. If you look around at a green screen, it's not going to work.
Yeah, it's not a green. No, I'm in the head office today, actually.
Oh, that is actually the office. Oh, sorry, that's a blur.
No. It's the cactus.
You see, this
meeting room.
This is where somebody who allegedly should know about technology should understand this stuff. But anyway, don't let that put us off. And we're with Mike here from Vouch. How are you, sir? You okay?
I'm very well, thank you. I've not got any flashy blurred background for you, but I'm just pleased to be wearing a t-shirt that doesn't blend in with it this time like I did on the last Kerfuffle roadshow we did.
Yeah, no, that always is going to be. And I am glad you're wearing a t-shirt. We're not ready for that level of kind of, level of honesty yet on the show. Guys, we're here today to talk about a really exciting tie-up, aren't we? So we're talking about the integration between the Vouch tenant referencing side of things and Alto on the CRM side. So can we just deal with just the basics here, of course, is how did the partnership come around? Who got the ball rolling and who wants to kick us off with it?
Happy to let James take this one if he wants.
Oh, yeah, I was going to go the other way and go, it's all you, Mike, it's all you. Maybe between us.
Now it's not the same time to be passing the baton back to each other.
That's it. Who's willing to take it? So, no, I mean, from Alto's perspective, we've started to, over the last 18 months, maybe a bit longer, open up the system. Yep. Open up the system where we can bring in these integration partners. And a conversation started between ourselves and Vouch that looked like it was going to be a nice, simple integration to get started. I think on both sides. Ours, that it's not really something we've done before. Alto was predominantly a closed CRM system. So it's a nice, simple one that Vouch are willing to work with us, work with the current APIs that we had in place and start to integrate that plugin and look at the possibilities that we could reach with these new integrations, both from an Alto side and I suppose from a Vouch side as well.
Yeah. And actually, I can link that nicely in from our side because when that conversation got started, one thing we've always at Vouch been very almost sort of open with is we have an open API here. So we've always been willing to open up and integrate with other partners, providing it's mutually beneficial. And it was very clear during these initial chats with the Alto Zoopla group that we could both, provide a solution that not just benefits Vouch and Alto, but the users, the agents in the middle who would see a working integration that would streamline their business.
And it really is about that, isn't it, Mike? In terms of, this, sometimes you almost struggle to think, well, how can you integrate? It almost feels like the two systems are being forced together. But with this, something that is just done on a daily basis so often, it's a natural fit, isn't it? Anything you can do in terms of saving that time, that efficiency, stopping that horrible multiple logging kind of approach and everything else there. That's the thing that frustrates agents a lot of the time, doesn't it?
Definitely. And I think, actually, I'd say the last 18 months, it's really been one of the two main topics I hear about whenever I get a conversation going with a letting agent out there across the UK. Do you integrate with this? Do you do this? Because what everybody is searching for out there is obviously less work because there's not as much time about as there used to be, but also just the ability to log in somewhere and not have to type out the same stuff 3, 4, 5 times in different systems because it's just boring and obviously a bit monotonous as well. Yeah,
okay, I get that. So when did it launch, guys?
Oh, that's a good question. How long have we been going now? Maybe I'm probably like a day out of thin air, really, it feels like, but it's 8-10 weeks ago. We've been going more than I suppose our original where we rolled it out in a beta was probably going back 4 or 5 months now. So it was in beta for about 4 or 5 months with a couple of agents. I'd say it's now been actively promoted to all agents over the last 6 weeks.
And you've already had quite a take-up, haven't you? You've already got 44 agents on board, so approaching that kind of magic 50 mark, which is well beyond a kind of, sort of getting the basics right and everything else. That's actually rolling out at quite a pace, isn't it?
It has, and I'd say our biggest take-up was probably from about 2-3 weeks ago, where we did our initial first webinar with Vouch and Alto, and we're really promoting it to clients. Otherwise, it was more a bit of a soft capture.
And what we didn't actually expect was that James and I would become sort of mini celebrities in our own right, because I think after that that initial webinar, there was a lot of phone calls that came in here saying, I was watching the two of you on the webinar, and I was like, oh my God. And you know, from a sales angle, I didn't actually pay attention to quite how many agents were on this thing. I just assumed there were a few, but there just seemed to be loads, and it seemed to hit the right points with people, and you know, and stoke some interest. And it was, you know, it was nice to hear, obviously.
Well, we'll do our best to double down on that notoriety from you two as well. We've got a very different audience, so don't let me down there, people out there.
I was going to say there's some expectations set here, yeah, Simon.
You've set it up here. So just give us a clue. Then obviously everyone knows what the process of tenant referencing is, and obviously everyone understands that, you know, Alto as a CRM and what that does. What does the solution offer though? How does it benefit the agents? What you guys have done together?
I mean, it's just, for me, it's kind of reiterating some things we've pointed out already. It's really trying to reduce the complexity of the agent, you know, the time saving, the efficiency of having one system where they can submit those references, see those references come back in, and solve kind of those input errors that tend to happen, misspelling of names, misspelling of email addresses, putting in a different format to what they might have in their system. So trying to save the complexity and time of agents from my perspective.
And that's the key element, one of the key elements there, James, isn't it? You know, in CRM, a lot of agents will say, why don't you guys do it yourself and everything else? But the key point is that people like Mike and Vouch, you know, they specialize, don't they? So that ability, as long as you've got that really nice tight integration there, it really doesn't matter how many different companies there are, as long as you can get the tick in the box just to make that, you know, to take, as you said, the kind of complexity away.
Yeah, correct. I mean, they know their business like the back of their hand, effectively, don't they? Whereas, you know, we know our CRM system, but for us to build in our own kind of referencing, it'd take us years, and we don't know the ins and outs and the legislational pieces behind it. So to have a partner like Vouch that knows all that and understands it and be able to plug in, just really rolls.
And it allows you to continue developing the core elements of the CRM itself, doesn't it? Which is, it's not like you don't have a list as long as your arm. I mean, in terms of how much these CRM systems have to do these days, isn't it? That's another nice option to have there.
Most definitely.
Good stuff. Okay, so how can clients of yours get to start using? How do they reach out to you guys, apart from obviously haranguing you as we've just heard there very directly? Yeah. Is there a process of getting in contact with each other's account managers? What's the approach?
Yeah, so first off, there'll be no haranguing. We're not a big one on the haranguing, for what it's worth, but from there I have heard it, funny enough. But there's two ways. I mean, you can contact, either Alto or Vouch directly. If you're contacting Alto, of course, we now have a referral system where the natural first step is to refer the lead over to Vouch, so that we can explain how Vouch works, how it links in, actually do a live demo with agents. And conversely, it kind of goes the other way. I suppose, just to take a step back, the answer to that question, I suppose, lies in which system do you use? If you're an existing Alto customer, the process starts with Alto and gets referred across to Vouch, and conversely, the opposite, if you're with Vouch and don't know Alto and want to onboard with them. It's important that they understand the two stages, because what you're using here is two different products that are integrated together to create that seamless journey. So it does involve having that understanding of both of them, so that you have the best possible chance of it working.
So really briefly, guys, just describe to me what happens at what stage, really, really briefly, succinctly. I'm guessing what you're just saying there, Mike, as well, talking to you guys, this is going to be actually one of those, this isn't they're going to sit through an hour-long demonstration. Nice, tight integration, because that's how it's meant to be on a daily basis. That's how it saves negotiators time and effort throughout the day, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's it. And James is welcome to step in and tell me where I'm going wrong here. But the idea with Vouch, of course, is the referencing service that new to Vouch customers would be using would be what we call our Core Plus product, which is our fully serviced referencing product. So the idea is an agent can log on to their Alto CRM. They can go over to, I'm getting technical here, but their progression screen on Alto. And once that integration's on, there's actually a little pink button at the bottom that says Start Referencing Checks. And the idea is they then push that button, review the info they're sending to Vouch. It reviews it and obviously does just that, sends it over to Vouch. And then our account manager, who's assigned to that agent, then takes charge of that reference, because for the time being in the middle of the process, it's in that vouch dashboard. Tenants are being contacted and scored. Once the account manager at Vouch has reviewed the reference and accepted or rejected it, the idea, of course, is the reference doesn't leave Vouch, but a copy of said reference report then lands back into Alto at the end of the journey to complete the cycle. So it starts and ends in Alto, but the middle part is very much with us here at Vouch.
Lovely. Has he got that right, James?
He has got that right. He's pretty much nailed that, all the terminology. So yeah, in progressions, we have got that pink button. They can submit their reference, and just to elaborate on that ever slightly, that will pull through the tenancy deposit, the tenancy amount they're paying, the property information they're going to rent. It'll pull through the number of tenants, but if there's multiple, plus their guarantors. All that data then seamlessly sends its way across into the Vouch dashboard or CRM system.
Excellent. And we mentioned there that obviously it's already been taken up by a good number. How many references have been passed through the integration sort of module at the moment? Is it enough that you feel very comfortable now that this is all guns blazing?
Yeah. So the live number that I've got, and I've got this 10 minutes ago, is 440 references have gone through from our side. And actually, and I don't get to hear all the feedback, don't get me wrong, but I've not heard of any initial teething problems, which you do associate with, new projects and, and new tech going live. It's actually been very overwhelmingly positive so far.
Okay, brilliant. And what are the key differences of using the integration against, working on the system separately? I mean, is it a case that you're able to sort of identify the time savings yet, or is that going to take a little bit longer in terms of kind of getting the ROI stats out?
James, have you got any ROI stats? I don't think I've got any just yet.
I've got no current stats at this precise moment in time. But
I'd have made that up on the fly there, James.
If I just go purely,
you're a better man than me.
If I just purely go on feedback alone from clients, the key theme is that it's really saving them time, because having to log into another system, refer back to then Alto, start keying in that data. They're saying that was a time, very time consuming. So average is that just the keying data alone, logging from one system to the other, is saving them 10, 15 minutes a reference. Again, I don't know how busy that agent is.
I mean, the problem with it, isn't it, a lot of the time when we hear these stats about the savings in PropTech, or especially on CRM, is you just hear a few minutes like that, and it kind of, sometimes you can lose the relevance. But, when you average that time out over the course of a month, over the course of the year, with the amount of people that are doing it, it actually does give you a real strategic advantage, doesn't it? I mean, there is just no doubt that if you are an agent that has this in your kit bag, you are going to, I don't even know if this is even a verb, out efficient the competition, aren't you? And that just brings you back more time to do more dollar productive activities.
Yes, it's really significant time savings that we're seeing. So hopefully, when we start getting those real formal stats through, we can start to prove that out.
You hit me with those formal stats.
We're not here to fluff people. We'd rather get a live stat before we start broadcasting it. But one other thing I do find from our side, at the risk of taking this down a very salesy angle as well, Vouch obviously doesn't just do referencing. We have automated processes in place for things like earning money through utility referrals, so like broadband media, rent protection insurance, obviously a big thing at the moment as well. That's quite all automatic in the background. So from an Alto perspective, they're able to say to their agents, actually, if you use this, it doesn't just speed up your referencing, it also speeds up those elements as well, because that just clicks into gear in the background. So it's actually
tick, 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 essentially. It's all becoming more efficient, all these different, and I mean, that's also helped, isn't it, Mike? From what I understand when we've spoken previously, Vouch from the very beginning, that was how it was meant. It's not like you've added the technology on like some providers have had to kind of layer. From the get-go, you've always thought of that and how it can be more efficient, can't it?
That's it. And actually, the utility sides, that's automatic. I've genuinely had the odd agent in my time who's rung in the office after using us for 6 months saying, like, I was supposed to, I was made some promises surrounding earning money through this, that, or the other, but it's been that automatic in the background. They actually haven't even noticed. I've had to direct them to where they go and find that on Vouch and claim the money that's due to them, because it doesn't involve a lot of effort on their side.
What an amazing problem to have, that is, isn't it? Here's where to find your money. That's
could be worse, definitely.
Exceptional, great. So let me just summarize. So it's the first integrated a referencing thing with Alto in terms of there. So big deal, obviously, with someone, you know, Alto with all its thousands of users out there. That's going to be a massive opportunity there for the wider kind of Vouch family now going at this. You get to work with 2 experts in one place, don't you? As another point there, bringing together the best of the 2 prop tech companies. And you can understand and see how that integration works simply by reaching out to you guys. I think I've got it right. We've got a Calendly link, which I'll get the guys to put up on here as well, which they can literally go and just book in a really quick demo with you guys to get a feel from it. But again, the key point as well is if you need to, just talk to your account managers. Okay, great, guys. Absolutely fantastic. Sounds very exciting to be doing this. This is what obviously agents and you know, people are really keen on ultimately at the end of the day, isn't it? Keep ticking off those kind of Chinese walls between the different prop tech suppliers out there, and you're going to end up with a happy client base, aren't you?
We definitely hope so. We definitely hope so.
Great, guys. Thank you very much for taking the time today. We will catch up with you soon.
Thanks, Simon. Thanks for having us.
Thanks,
Simon. Good night.